Alright guys, so now let's get to the main content area of our application. And this is going to be where different content will render. I need to go ahead and get my workspace set up. So I'm going to click into here to load up. Let's close all for now. And hear that. Alright, so now I'm going to open up my website backend directory here in the terminal and run npm start to start the server. And then in my first terminal here, just run npm start it there as well, and that will start the app. Now before any of this even starts, we can actually talk about what we're going to do. So in Pages, if I go into Dashboard, so this is going to be the page that gets embedded into admin wrapper. And if we look, I believe it's this props children is going to get mounted there. So if I go into app, for instance, we'll see the admin wrapper and then dashboard. It's being embedded as a child element of the admin wrapper. And we're going to follow this through for other routes as well. So we'll add an admin/user route and such. So for right now, what we're going to do is in admin wrapper, we actually need to fix the way this is displaying. So right after the drawer, we want to be able to embed the content, and how we're going to do that is with a little bit of style. So in here I'm going to open up a main element, and the class name is going to be classes.content, and then I'm going to drag this up here. So now the children of the admin wrapper component will be wrapped into this main element. So I'm going to save this now. And then up at the very top, when we're actually doing our styles, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and style this to make it fit with Flex Grow. So right down here at the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and add content, and this is the class name that we just applied to main. So if you applied classes dot and then another class name, you would use that here instead of the word content. And we're going to say flex grow is 1. Padding, we're going to get the theme spacing and multiply by 3. And I don't recall what the theme spacing is set to. Height is going to be 100 view height, and then overflow we'll set to auto. We're going to save this, and then we actually have to go to admin here, log in, and that didn't work. At least it doesn't look like it worked. Let's have a look in here, find out why. So unless I missed some settings for the drawer, that should have worked. Let's go ahead and look. Drawer. We'll have to, I did miss something. The root class doesn't have flex set for the display. So let's set that now. And that may not be all I'm missing here. But on the very first div here on admin page, we're going to add a class name and the class we just defined, so classes.root. Let's go ahead and save this. It will refresh and we'll have to log in again. We're going to persist this stuff, I promise. So that fixed it, but now this little bit of text is kind of leaking under the nav bar there, the main bar. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some spacing. So we'll just create a new div and we'll put it here. The first child element of main is going to be a div, and the class name will classes dot app bar spacer, and then we'll self-close this div because we're not actually putting content, it's just being used for spacing. And so then up at the top we're going to go ahead and define the spacing, and all we really want to do is add a little bit of spacing there. Let me go check what I named that class. App bar space. So here after the app bar definitions, we'll create a new class called app bar space. And then what we're going to do here, there is a mix-in which is added to or it's inherited from the theme. So there's a property in the theme called toolbar. So we're going to access that. We're going to say theme.mixins.toolbar. And we're going to save this. And then when this refreshes and we log in again, we'll see that now we've got this just at the top, which is all right. We are going to add some padding here, some additional padding around the main content, but we'll do that later, I guess. So what we've got here is 3 routes that essentially do nothing right now. They actually change the routes. So let's go ahead and define some admin routes and admin components. Let's close admin wrapper, and in app.js, let's actually create these pages first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder called admin, and we're going to keep all of our admin pages in here. So let's move dashboard into admin, and then let's create a new file called users.js and a new file called posts.js. And then in users, let's go ahead import React and component from React. And then we'll say, what was that? Oops. I don't know what that just did. I was typing and I hit enter, and it, I think, clicked yes on some message, but I'll watch this video after and see what happened there. Class users extends component, and we'll render and return for right now. We'll say h1 users, and then we'll close that. At the bottom, we'll export default users, and we will have to rig into the router at some point. And I'm going to copy all this and go into posts and just update this name to posts. There. So let's save that. And then in app, we're going to change this to /admin/dashboard. And I'm going to go ahead and add a comment admin pages. And then let's import users from components, pages, admin, users, and import posts from components, pages, admin, posts. And let's save this. And then what I'll do is route path admin/users. Component will be users. And it's very important that when you're working with URLs that you put them in the correct order. And what I mean by this is if this route was after this one, it may cause issues, especially if we're going to be using different parameters in the URLs, and I'll show you guys that a bit later. And then for this one, we'll set posts, and the component will be posts. So as you can see, both components are rendering here, the login wrapper and the posts component, and this is because we need to set isExact or exact equals true on that route. And now we'll get admin posts even though we're not logged in. And if we do this, we forgot the admin wrapper. All right, so I'm going to copy this right here and add it to this, as well as the users route, and then just change the admin wrapped component that we're embedding there to the relevant one. So I'm on admin posts, not logged in, so I'm getting the login screen. I'm going to log in. And now when we click around, we'll see that we get a different page for each route, which is exactly what we want. But we have to actually build tables in here. And so we're going to specify one table view, which will be the material UI table. If I search material UI here, we can actually look at component demos, and there should be a table here. And we're just going to use a simple table. So this actually is exactly what we will use for now. There are these additional functionality which we may actually, we'll probably be using this type of table actually. So we'll have to pass in column names as well as the data themselves, because we're going to be embedding posts into this component, and we're also going to be embedding this component into users. So there's going to be two different instances that technically use the same component, so we're going to have to make it a little bit conditional, and we will get started on that in the next video.